Hello there, gang. Judge Dredd here with another episode of Past Blasts, in which we should be passing judgment and handing down a sentence to Judge Dredd, Dredd vs. Death, released in 2003, written and published by Rebellion Software, who are of course also the IP owners for 2000 AD, the comic, and the real world publishers for that. It was released on PC, Xbox, PlayStation 2 and GameCube. So how's it fared after all these years? Let's have a little look, shall we? I'll take that profile. That's the only profile I've got going at the moment. So options. Here's your control options. You set your mouse sensitivity and such, whether your control be held or toggled. Your controls are all rebindable. This is always a good thing. So time off for good behaviour there. We also have some very limited audio and video controls. There's the first issue. 1280 by 960 seems to be the maximum resolution. It's the only one it's accepting. Maximum resolution it's accepting on my system. So, yeah, doesn't seem to be a way to get it the full 1920 by 1080, unfortunately. And you've got a few advanced video options. Now make sure you know where this is, because you're going to need it. Very, very limited. Have you not noticed anti-aliasing now? It keeps turning itself off. And you want to make sure it's on, and on at 8 times. I shall explain for why shortly. So we'll accept all those changes. Now, content-wise. Actually, no, there's quite a bit here. There's the battle modes, and this was your multiplayer. Now, this was on the Game Spy services and servers. So multiplayer is dead, as those services were shut down some years ago now. But you do still have a player versus bot match. You get different game types: deathmatch, team deathmatch, elimination, team elimination, vampire, and judges versus perps. And you can have up to 12 bots, I believe it is. On the go, you also get the arcade mode. Now, I've only got a couple of these unlocked at the moment. These are like little challenge mini maps that you can play through, mini game modes that will unlock as you go through. And that's the good thing, as you play through the story campaigns, more unlocks for the arcades and the battles, different skins for multiplayer, different maps, different little arcade modes. So there's a good reason to play through, and then the story mode itself. So let's just dive on with the single player. Again, wouldn't buy for co-op. I don't think it's local, and it would have been Game Spy, so that's also gone. So let's go back to the... This is like the first main mission. There is a little tutorial there, but you don't need to see that. So let's just play through on the normal.
It is the third decade of the 22nd century. Unemployment is endemic, boredom is universal, and only the judges can prevent total anarchy. Empowered to dispense instant justice, they are judge, jury, and executioner all in one. The most feared and respected of all the judges is Dredd. He is the law.
You are adoring public. Dredd, you gotta stop holding your fan club meetings outside City Hall. Dispense with the wisecracks, Anderson. Tell Dredd what you just told me. The precogs at Psi Division are predicting a terrible plague. Dredd, the last thing this city needs is an epidemic. Citizens crammed together the way they are would spread like wildfire.
I'll keep my ear to the ground, Chief Hershey.
In the meantime, disperse those demonstrators outside.
Consider it done. Bleeding heart liberals, time to dispense some justice.
Small point of note, but that's actually the Grand Hall of Justice, not City Hall. Get your game on there, Rebellion. You are supposed to be the official publishers. So yes, you play Judge Dredd, the famous future cop. And of course, because you're in law, you have to keep the law. You can't just gun people down randomly.
10 years, lawbreaker.
And then you have to arrest them.
Mistake. You're going away
You will hear a lot of the same little sound bites though, unfortunately.
In this city, justice comes at a price. That price is freedom.
I believe this chap has something to tell me.
Dredd, Hershey wants you to arrest anyone scrawling graffiti outside the halls of justice to set an example.
So the graphics, yeah, they're a little bit blocky and clumpy by today's standards, of course, but they do a fairly good job of conveying the future city of Mega City 1. They're bright and colourful, very cartoony, which is obviously fitting as this is based on the comic book cartoon of 2000 AD featuring Judge Dredd. So down on your bottom left there's your health meter. You have a very small shield that'll take a couple of bullets, and after that you start taking damage from your health pool. You can pick up medkits as you go along, and they're applied automatically when you get lose all your health if you have any. Otherwise it's game over. Sorry, what was that?
We can do this the easy way or the hard way. Sure.
He's being friendly to a judge. He's got something to hide.
Things over.
And on the right we have the ammunition. Now of course Judge Dredd has the famous Lawgiver. His gun fires 6 different types of bullets, and they are the standard, which I'm on now. If I fire it, you see you get quite a few for your money. You might notice there's no round counter. There's 11 mags, but it's a shared ammo pool. So now if I switch to another round type, armor piercing. Now that takes up a lot more ammunition. Ricochet bullets. They can bounce around items, bounce around corners and such like. Incendiaries. Sets things on fire, as you probably can guess. High explosives. Just like a mini grenade. And finally, Heat Seeker. I can't fire them now because it will come shoot one of these people. Now this is the first real big problem with the game. You might have noticed as each different round types, if I go back to High X, the more funky bullet types take up a lot more of the ammunition pool. There's also a kind of lack of ever needing any of the other types of bullets. For the most part of the game, standard, armor piercing and occasionally high explosives will be pretty much all you need to use. There's very little opportunity to ever use heat seekers, ricochets.
Stop in the name of the law.
Do not. That was a sort of a judge.
Give it up, perp. Okay. We're gonna throw away the key.
Excellent, they actually give him life, which is what he should have got. So the game does a pretty good job of catching the 2000 AD environments, or the 2000 AD Mega City 1 environments. Throughout the game you will
The smell of justice in the morning.
You will go through all the various famous locations in the city. Hey chappie. So this is one way of getting their pack. Now what's a Brit sit judge doing in Mega City 1? But they can also boost your health and you're damaged if you see them walking around. As I was saying about the ammunition pool and the ammunition count. So that's one of the few ways to get extra ammunition for your lawgiver throughout this game, is to find it off of dead judges. There are occasionally little dispensers. Not you, this one.
Drop your weapon. You're taking the big ride.
Easy with the cuffs, buddy.
6 months, lawbreaker.
Couldn't have done something wrong. As you'll notice, just on the ammunition counter, that little sort of white tick bar underneath the eagle's head, that's your law meter. If you go around gunning people down without a reason, or setting them on fire with incendiaries, or killing them by accident, you can end up getting busted.
3 months for incitement to riot.
3 months? Is this your first day on the job? 6 years, throw away the key.
Hey.
What was that? What, you look like you was doing something suspicious. Right, walking away from a judge. He's obviously got something to hide. So yes, I was a massive 2000 AD fan growing up. The whole thing, Nemesis the Warlock, Rogue Trooper, Strontium Dogs. Running for no reason, obviously something to hide. So I know my Judge Dredd law. Oh, there.
Now. Sure.
Smoking's illegal. Unless you're in the smokatorium. Any place you can smoke in Mega City 1. Yes, I'm a 2000 AD nerd.
Drop your weapon.
Right, you, down.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Dude, I only just got out.
Right. We're gonna throw away the key.
I'll put my tags.
Stop in the name of the law. Drop your
I'm not talking us twice here, people.
Assume the position, creep.
We do, of course, have a melee, so we can knock them out if they get too handed.
Drop it, creep.
Oh, you want some fisticuffs? Can do that. And of course, the main aim of the game at the moment, this is just your kind of warm-up levels.
Man, I should have stayed in school.
Life in imprisonment.
Yes, now you'll stay in the cubes.
Hey!
You're taking the big ride.
Eventually, the Dark Judges will get released. And the Dark Judges are the arch nemesis of Judge Dredd. The 4 Dark Judges: Judge Death, Judge Fear, Judge Fire, and Judge Mortis. They come from a warped dimension where the judges came to the decision that as all crime was committed by the living, therefore life itself must be a crime. And they came back with supernatural powers. We do have some stun grenades, but half of them just surrendered. So now he's dead, I can now get his ammunition. Let's get another stun grenade out there. And again, you've got to be very careful because you don't get a lot of these things to pick up again. Watch out for that fire there, by the way, it will set you on fire. Your choice, creep. Bad choice, creep. Looking very good here. Go for some stopping shots.
Out, lawbreaker.
No, fair enough. Down you go. Oh, here's a bit bulletproof. Right, let's get these creeps in the catch wagon. So yes, you can also pick up a second weapon throughout the game. In this case, this rather useless pistol. But you will have to get used to using them a lot of the time because of the ammunition requirements I just mentioned earlier. So the Dark Judges, there's 4 of them as I was saying. Oh, and here's the vampires, one of the new enemy types in the game. And they warp dimensions. And there's 4 of them, they will eventually become boss battles throughout the game. And they're quite inventive, they're well rendered in regards to the comic renditions of them. It's quite an interesting way of making them into boss battles. So the game has a lot going on, content-wise. It just wasn't very well received at the time. This was a time when FPS shooters were quite everywhere. And this was a bit average compared to what was available at the time. Here's a good chance to show me about some of the bullets and their uselessness. You would think vampires, you would think incendiary would be a great stopping thing for them. Oh, now I can't get a shot on that. But as you can see, nope. Where's my armour piercing? Armour piercing is the best for these creeps. I better sort of start aiming more like a judge and less like a cadet. So he's still churning around on fire. I mean, that's plenty of games out there. Fire weapons are always useless. Flamethrowers are always crap. This game's no exception. Though it is funny the way they burn down the skeletons after you set them on fire. But it was definitely a missed opportunity with the Lawgiver. And because it is a strict FPS game, you will only be fighting on foot. You will not ever get to use the Lawmaster, Dredd's iconic bike, or anything like that, unfortunately. So there was a few missed opportunities with this game. Right there. You can see already how fast I'm starting to churn through this ammunition. Oh, sorry, I didn't notice him jump. I thought hasn't done the law meter any good. There's also little things like that around the place. Brian Bolland was, of course, the original Judge Death artist and one of 2000 AD's most premier and esteemed artists. Excellent artwork. If you get a chance to check out his Judge Death Highly recommended, the comic book story. And there's a bit of gore and dismemberment in the game as well.
Come from?
But look at that, I'm absolutely sucking this ammunition through. And because these are vampires, I can't even use art. I couldn't use heat seeking because I end up killing more people than anything else. So that was definitely a missed opportunity. Any more for any more? Is that one? That is one there. Stand still. I'm shooting bad, you must stand still. It does make it a little bit hard on selecting your bullets and your shots because yeah, you can easily kill off your citizens being careful. And if you do if your law meter goes right down, you will incur the wrath of the SJS, the Special Judicial Squad. They're the judges who judge the judges. Oh, and I was going to explain why the anti-aliasing was so important, wasn't I? Now you might notice jumping here. It's very much old school FPS jumping. So lots of air time, you can jump backwards. However, I found if you don't turn the anti-aliasing on before you start the game, your jump might not work at all. You'll press the spacebar or whatever your jump key you've bound. You'll get the jump sound, but but then he won't actually jump. Looks like that's another one there, but I can't get a shot because of the two-ton Tony Tanya there. And where's the others? That Lee is not the best in the game. Sit down. So it's a very bizarre issue. If you don't have the anti-aliasing turned on, your jump will be unreliable as hell. So it does have a few minor issues this far down the line. It didn't used to have that problem. So it must be something to do with a graphics driver update, possibly for Nvidia. So I think we'll just about get around to concluding our dealings here, gang. So it's not a bad shooter. It's got a lot of content for its money. The graphics do a good comic book feel. They're certainly not outstanding. The gunplay is fairly average, but it is a letdown about the lawgiver and the ammunition count. Because you really will run out of that stuff quite fast, and if you don't find a dead judge or an ammo dispenser, you spend most of the game using the secondary weapons. But you get to see a lot of the city. The dark judges themselves are well done. They're quite interesting little boss fights. There's a lot of varied locations and locales to go through in the game. And it's worth playing through just to lock the extra little bits for the challenge maps, the arcade, the bot maps. So it's still, I would say it's still a fairly average shooter. It's certainly not a must play with gripping gunplay or anything like that. But if you like 2000 AD, it's 2000 AD especially, then there's definitely a lot to find here. If you just like your general FPS and you want a low cost time for that, again, content wise there's plenty to find if you can live with the older graphics and some potentially dodgy performance issues. Outside of that, so what's the sentence? In all honesty, a retrial. This game certainly could do with a redux. I mean, Rebellion did just redux to Rogue Trooper recently, another 2000 AD comic story converted into video games. Maybe they could do something along those lines for this. It's a great shame they didn't put some sort of Lore Master riding section in. It wasn't beyond the technology of the day in 2003 to have done that. So some couple of wasted opportunities for the Dredd fans in the way of not relying on your lawgiver 100% unless you use the crappier bullet types. Not always having a reason to use some of the more exotic ammunition types, and not having your Lore Master. Bit of a waste. But story-wise it's pretty good and decent. Plenty of hours worth of gameplay in here. So yes, come on Rebellion, pull your fingers out and get on and do a redux of this one. It certainly would be better, a bit more polish, for sure. So anyway, gang, thank you for taking the time to watch the video. I hope you found it useful or entertaining in some way. And please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to let me know you're alive. And I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.